Good morning, everyone, or whatever time it is when you happen to be catching this show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Jason Cisneros, and this is the Built to Exit podcast, where we talk about all things business for your company, um, uh, your exits, your future, how we sell, who we're going to sell to, on and on and on. Everything that you want to know about business, we have real conversations here. I want to welcome a lot of the new viewers to the show. I've been meeting a hell of a lot of people out on the road. I think in the last 6 to 8 weeks, we've been in front of about 9,000 of you, and and it's been an amazing, amazing journey. We've had a really, really great time. We're headed up to Virginia next week. For those of you that are going to be at FounderCon, it's a Christian business and life event where there's going to be about 300 people. There's still seats available. I think a couple of seats available. So if you want to go to my website, jasoncisneros.com, you want to look at events, you can find out where to catch us there. And then I will be in Fort Lauderdale the first week of December, and then in Atlanta for a really great event for Christian men called The Forge. That should be up on the website as well. And then we're headed to Puerto Rico for Lindemann and whatnot in January. So lots of places for us to meet up in public and for us to see each other. So good morning, good morning, good morning. So that's welcoming all of the new viewers and to my peeps, the people who have been with me for a very, very long time. I see some of you out there already. Welcome. And it's great to see you, Christopher. Great to see you, Bryce and Julie. And we're going to have a great time today. So today's show is really to hyper focus in. I've had a lot of conversations over the last 6 to 8 weeks traveling around this unbelievable country. And the conversation is obviously about the strategy, the tactics. Did an amazing podcast with a gentleman from Spain yesterday, and we got right into the details of what we do, how we build the exit, et cetera, et cetera. And we talk about those specifics quite often and those tactics, but the main variable always comes down to this idea of the end game. What is your outcome? Why are you playing the game? What are you doing with your company? This conversation, yes, I'm doing a podcast. I'm speaking to the masses, but I'm really speaking directly to you. If you're taking the time to watch this podcast, if you're taking the time out of your busy schedule when you're already overloaded, you constantly think about business, and now you're coming to think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go listen to another business podcast. I want to make sure that you understand the major objective. And this is, again, I was in rooms where we were at across the board, $100 million businesses, $300 million businesses, and $3 million businesses across the board. Business owners, that's my family. Right, small and mid-sized business owners. That's my family. That's how I got to get to live the life that I live, and it really focuses in around the idea that your business is a tool to be able to create freedom. And what that freedom looks like for you is a major conversation. I know I talk about it on almost every show. I know people that have been following me for a long time go, here we go again with the freedom stuff. But oh my God, people don't execute on it, right? We have these conversations over and over and over again with thousands of business owners, from, like I said, from $1 million to $300 million businesses. And the idea is that most people don't have what that end game looks like for them, anchored in and directly targeted for their business to be able to help them achieve that. And so today's conversation really is about the money versus time conversation. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between rapport and trust. I want to talk a little bit about clarity. So we're going to have those conversations, but I want to start out with the idea that with this show, constantly have that target in mind, right? We talk about getting clear on where you are, and we have this unbelievable, and again, no matter what kind of size of business it is, our very first step is what's called scanning the horizon, right? Scanning the current scenario, like digging into your business and figuring out exactly where you are financially, and then saying, okay, what's the top of that mountain look like? If I'm climbing Mount Everest, it's, 0 from Nepal to, 17,000 feet to base camp. And I think there's 33 million businesses in this country, and about 30 million of them have not even reached base camp yet. And they're trying to get strategies for how to get to camp 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Before you summit that mountain. And you got to get to base camp first. And in order to get on that journey, you have to, take an inventory of what you have available to you as far as resources. What skill sets do you have? Do you have the skill sets to be able to summit Mount Everest? Right? Most people don't. Most businesses don't, which is why 95% of them fail. Right? And 95% of them fail because they don't acquire the right skill sets. They don't set the objective as the summit, right? The summit is, what are you doing all this for? Right? You're doing it for freedom. What is that freedom number for you? And have you set that objective? Or are you just playing the game, hoping, right? Taking a big old dose of hopium and saying, I hope that we're going to keep getting better with my business. That's not the right way, the right way to approach this, right? It's to say, here's where I'm at. What skill sets do I have? What resources do I have? And then there's the pinnacle. There's where I'm going to plant my flag. It's 5 million, it's 10 million, it's 30 million, it's 50 million, whatever it is for you that defines your freedom to say, I am now on the other side of ever having to do anything ever again. Now I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to exit to what's next, right? And now you can do those things that you have in your heart without stress or the weight of the financial burden that comes along with a journey that is undiscovered or uninspected, right? Which is the journey that most people are on. So yes, I harp on it. Yes, I talk about it every podcast. Yes, I talk about it on every stage, because when I step into audiences and I ask that question, what is your outcome? Very few people have an answer for it. Very few people have the very specific answer for it. And when I have this conversation and you see it dawn on somebody's face, oh my God, I'm actually playing this game to gain freedom. And they go, oh, well, that number is a target, and there's so much stuff that falls away, trying to impress people that don't like you, moving into houses that you can't afford yet, right? And driving cars to impress people who don't like you anyway. And all of this stuff starts to fall away, and it gives you that clarity of there is my target. I know something very specific about business owners. When you have clarity, you have power, because it wipes away all of the other things that you're walking along with, wipes away all of the other things that are trying to draw your attention. Everybody's like, oh my God, everybody has a 13-second attention span. Yeah. Well, that's why most people are broke, sad, divorced, out of shape, not healthy, not vibrant, not happy, all of those things. It's because they allow themselves to get distracted. Where are you distracted in your life, right? Where is this conversation of money versus time coming up for you? Is it because you have a lack of clarity? Is it because you're not crystal clear on where you're taking yourself, where you're taking your family, the things that you want to do with your life? Where are you trapped because you're not clear? And I have the conversations. When I go to events, I absorb the interactions, the what the kids call IRL, in real life, means something to me. Shaking hands, sitting down, having conversations, eating meals, waking up, having breakfast with people, meeting people in the gym, not just my whatever hour to 2 hours or whatever on stage. It's the interactions and the conversations and the shaking the hands and the relationships that are built, because that is what ends up building this movement that we're engaged in, to create representation for our people. The $17 trillion that we do, the 60% of the hiring that we do, the 90% of the jobs that are out there, the biggest tax base, the people that are funding everything that these politicians want to do, and the money that's being given away, and advantages being given to unethical, huge capitalistic corporations. Our family has to survive. And the only way that it does is if we have real conversations with each other and we keep each other in check. We hang out with each other. We do business with each other. We have real conversations with each other around this idea of stop wasting money and time trying to impress people who don't like you anyway, right? Just get to that point and say, here's my clarity piece. I'm going after $5 million free money invested, whatever it is, in my own business. And that's the target, right? Built to exit is specifically where can you exit your business? It doesn't mean you have to sell your company. It can, but it's to get your time back and for you to have total, complete decision-making freedom for you, your family, and for you to chase those things that I know you have inside of you, the passion that I know you have inside of you, the service that you want to deal, the amount of the world that you want to see and experience before you're too old, and too frail to be able to chase it, or to chase just whatever your dreams are, right? So the conversation, it's not money versus time, right? This is the inaccurate layering of this conversation that people have. Oh, you're so busy chasing money that you don't have any time. You have to, right? Money is a tool that then buys you back your time, right? Regardless of what we want to say, if we're having real conversations, if we're connecting on a real level, then I must tell you the truth and you must tell me the truth. And the truth is that until we reach a place where we've defined that numerical freedom point where we no longer have to do anything, we get to do it, we're indentured servants, right? At best, we are in indentured servitude. And I don't like that for my people. I don't like that, right? As I've said many, many times, Pastor Rudy says that a slave cannot free another slave. So I got to get free if I'm going to do the work that I'm here to do, which is to free 600 businesses by helping you guys sell between 15 and 30 million in the next 5 years. That's what our outcome is. So money versus time. Set that objective, and then you reverse engineer to where you are. And now you know the boxes that you have to tick, the things that you have to learn, the people that you have to hire, the networking that you need to do. And that helps you along the path. It helps drop off any distractions so that you can make that summit. And it's a real definable journey from base camp to plant your flag of freedom on the top of your own personal Mount Everest. So, what are some of the components that have to once you figure that out, once you say, okay, that's my summit, Jason, here's my number, and here's what that entails. It means my house is paid off. It means I've got $2 million in an account that's spinning off 10% interest. Means I've got some cars. I've paid for the kids' college. Whatever it is for you. Right? Business is not a bathrobe, as Keith Cunningham always tells us. Business is not a bathrobe. One size does not fit all. And anybody giving you anything but a customized a solution for you is selling you their bathrobe one size fits all solution. It's got to be custom tailored to you, but it can't be custom tailored to you if you haven't custom tailored your own exit. If you are living somebody else's dream, if you are living somebody else's ideas, if you are living somebody else's reality, if you are faking your reality on Instagram or social media, you've got to get to a place where it's real. And the greatest concept that I've ever encountered for you to be real, right? We talked about this. I was just in Arizona at an amazing event called Wealth Mastery. People paid $10,000 a head to be in that room at Alexa's event. $10,000 to be in a room with those speakers, with the, me speaking and with the event that was put on. Those people were investing in their education. They were investing. And one of the conversations that we had that was super impactful, and those of you that have been around me for a while, you've heard me say, right, that nobody cares. And I want to dive into that just a second, because if you're going to summit, you've got to get to this place where you're not trying to impress anybody else. You have to become someone new. You have to learn new skill sets. You have to fail. You have to feel stupid. You have to do all of these steps for you to be able to get to your next level in your journey. And so when we understand the concept that nobody cares, um, from this perspective, yes, I know people love you. Yes, I know that you love people. Yes, I know that you care about people. Yes, I know people care about you. However, there is a massive burden that we're carrying around, which one is, I don't know where I'm going. That's a big old rock in your backpack. If you could get that out and say, I know exactly where I'm going, that lightens your load a little bit. The next thing is, if you're carrying around the load of what people think about you and reputation and all of these things, and you can take that out and say, on my journey, I know for me as a small and or mid-sized business owner, we don't have lobbyists. We don't have all of the other crap that these huge giant companies have. What we have is integrity. What we have is truth. What we have is falling in love with the outcome of my target audience and serving them better than anybody else on the face of the planet. That's what we have. So when we go, okay, what if I know that my product and or service is solving a problem higher than anybody else, and I have fallen in love with the outcome of that target audience, now I no longer have to worry about what people think about me. Right? I no longer have to try to impress people, because you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your boohoo story. Nobody cares about how hard you're working. Nobody cares about where you live or what you drive or what particular clothes you're wearing. Nobody cares when you are serving your audience. They care about what you can do for them in three areas: saving them money, making them money, or measurably changing the quality of their life. Very simple. They don't care about anything else. How good are you at doing that? Right? How good are you at solving those problems? You don't have to play this magic, like fake, let me put on a fake mask and let me put on a fake conversation and let me have a fake blah, 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 right? I'm going to have my elevator pitch ready. Nobody gives a shit about your elevator pitch until they understand that you care about them and that you have a solution for them to ease their pain, ease their suffering, right? Get their work done better than anybody else out there. That's what they care about. They don't care about all the other stuff. So all I'm saying is, in your backpack, when you take out the fact that you don't know where you're going, and now you know where you're going, that lightens the load. Second one is, you take out the big ass boulder of people thinking that people actually care about all the crap that you're trying to show, and you go boom. Now you're real is dealing with somebody else's real, right? And what I mean by that is reality, right? Your reality is now interacting with somebody else's reality. And in that space, magic happens. My reality and the truth that we have conversations with on here, I don't hide any of my shit. I tell the truth. I've let everybody know about my failures and in my marriages, in my health, in my businesses, in my finances, with my kids. Everybody, I don't hide anything, because if you like me, right? I want if I would much rather have you hate me for who I am than to love me for who I'm not. And that's how our reality can react with each other. When you meet me at an event, you don't see the AI Jason. You see this Jason. I look like this. This isn't enhanced in any way. This isn't AI Jason. This is real Jason. So at the end of the day, when you meet me in public, you go, oh, I saw you online. It's consistent, right? It's consistent. And those of you that have known me for a very, very long time, you know I'm the same when off stage and we're having a tequila at dinner and I'm the same person constantly. And it's not the person that that you want me to be, it's the person that I am. And so you're dealing with reality when you deal with me, and I'm going to force you and I'm going to find your reality so that we can interact with each other to see if there's something there for us to go ease suffering for other people. That's the methodology, right? That's the methodology. That's the work that has to be done on your own journey for us to be able to get to that place of clarity. So when you understand when I say nobody cares, that's another rock that you get to take out. And you can now start to get that clarity, right? You've got clarity of who you're dealing with, you've got clarity of where you're going, and you can deeply connect with your outcome. The only way to do that had a very, very good. There's a book that's being written. I'm not going to spoil who it's coming from and what the subject is, but I will say this. I will say this. This person has an incredible success rate in helping people, where nine I think the facts of it was, and I'm gonna have her on and have her, hopefully she'll come on. She's a little bit shy, but and talk about her book once it comes out. But she has succeeded in a particular area, um, helping people get their doctorates that 9% of people usually get doctorates. With her process and working with her, she gets 87%. And we had this amazing conversation about, she knows the statistical data. She's a brilliant human being. And the book is, 90% done. And we had this amazing conversation around the idea of trust. And it was a unbelievable 20-25 minute conversation, and where it comes from and where it needs to exist and how it needs to exist. And so my conclusion, and this is kind of how I'm going to wrap up today's podcast, is that if we have those things, if we have clarity of where we're going, it's going to define a lot. It's going to define a lot of things. If we realize that nobody cares, and that we should care deeply about the outcome of our particular, the people that we're working for and that we're doing work with, that just starts to clear it up. Now, when you're real, when your reality, when you're true, when you've taken off the mask and you've put away the traumas and you've put away the hiding and you've exposed who you are, what you do to the world, what's going to happen is you're going to see a great falling away of fake, shallow relationships, and you're going to start to see the formation of deep relationships, meaningful relationships that give you traction on your journey to your own peak. Now, in so doing, you may need to learn a new way to interact with people, right? And there's this huge word for years and years. I do a program on sales internally for my own team, because again, I needed to build something. There's so many sales techniques and sales books and whatnot. And I just distilled over the years, probably about 18 years ago at this point, I distilled down for my internal companies, for my own businesses, and now for those of you that have been through, our journey, or you're with us right now and going through it, we now teach that to you. But one of the concepts, I took all of the concepts of sales and I narrowed them down so that I could hand those to my sales teams and they could be massively successful, without having to complicate it. And one of the concepts that we started out with, that I'm going to leave you with today, that that you can implement in your own life and see what happens, right? Test it. This is why this podcast exists, is for us to have real stuff that we've been working with for years, give it to you, and between our meetings on Saturday to Saturday or podcast to podcast, you're trying new things. Because if you're not trying new things and feeling awkward and failing and then improving and moving it to the next level, again, you're just dealing with hopium. This is about implementation. This is about execution on really great strategies. So try this one on as you go into your week. Our number one rule in sales is this: unless you have rapport, you have nothing. That's our number one rule. And as I was having an unbelievable conversation with this real doctorate level that graduates real doctors, 87% of the time versus 9%. We had this great conversation. I said, here's where we start, right? It's unless you have rapport, you have nothing. And all that means is you start with the other person in mind. Simple concept. Most people that are in sales, most people that own businesses cannot wait they cannot wait to give their elevator pitch. They cannot wait to talk about what they do. Reverse engineer to the rock that I told you to take out of your backpack, which was nobody cares. So if we know nobody cares, now what I start shifting into is selflessness. I need to know somebody in order to create rapport. I need to know something about the other person before they know anything about me. Why? As opposed to the flip side of that, where most people are like, I've got to impress somebody. I've got to tell them where I live. I've got to tell them what jet I fly in. I've got to tell them, I got to name drop like a mofo. I got to do this. I got to do that. Right. And that's where people start. And that is a repelling of people. They may smile. They may go, oh, that's cool. But at the end of the day, what do we say? Nobody cares. So in the rapport building phase, number one rule is that you have to be prepared to ask questions about the other person. You have to be prepared to care more about what's going on with them, because until you find something about them that you can connect with to them, you've got nothing. My sales teams with number one rule, unless you've got rapport, you've got nothing. I mean that. You've got nothing. And rapport starts with digging into the other person's life and having a conversation. Oh, what do you do? Oh, what's your family like? What are you trying to accomplish in this world? I have this conversation constantly. Those of you that have hung out with me, I'm asking questions all the time because I have no idea how to connect with you until I know something about you. Right? And that question, instead of like, oh, poor me, and you're talking about yourself and you're whining about shit and you're trying to impress other people and you're trying to name drop and all that other kind of stuff, it's ridiculously childish for us to be in that position. As a leader, we know that we have to step back and serve. We come second. My wife introduced a concept to me, the other day that I've been taking really seriously, and it makes me stop and think, and it's sort of how I've lived my life since since I started to understand some of the things that we talk about. But this was another level. It's when you see me, you should see me second, and you should see Jesus first, right? This is our Christian walk. My wife and I are on together. And it's a really interesting concept. It's like, you should see Jesus first. Wow. Okay. So, you know, if I'm interacting with somebody, I now have that filter that I go, well, wait a minute. Would Jesus name drop? Would Jesus be bragging about stuff? Would Jesus, you know what I mean? I just have these conversations about like, what would Jesus do? Right? The WWJD, when in my life, I thought WWJD was what would Jason do? It's now what would Jesus do? And so being second in that and having a concept of being second and being seen second and having Jesus seen first is another level of building in the strength of humility and understanding that I'm second. And I've operated sort of that way, but not as much as I could. So when we're talking about creating rapport, right? When we're um looking to connect with other people, because that's really all business is, right? Is us connecting to other people, figuring out, do they need my service or not? And if they do, then and I've created some rapport, they'll ask me what I do. They say, "Hey, oh, I do plumbing," right? Oh my gosh, I need a plumber. Hey, I do roofing. Oh my gosh, I need my roof fixed, right? It's first rapport. And second, you, your business, what you offer, who you know, right? And unless you're willing, unless all of those things, the people that you know, and these are all important, but unless they're in an inventory that only gets pulled out in service of someone else, it is braggadocious. It is a repelling of the people that you need in your life. Okay. So this week, figure out, just play the game. I do this all the time with everybody, with Uber drivers when I'm at the airport, the person I'm sitting next to. I am in constant practice of how to create faster and faster, deeper and deeper rapport so that I can get to know who that person is, so that I can then go, oh, you know what? I hear something there. You know what I need to do is I need to introduce you to my friends, Julie and Bryce. Right. So I can go into my inventory, not because I want them to go, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all about me. It's no, I can go into my inventory and say, hey, here's this piece of service. Use it as you will. Oh, my business does this. If you need that service, great, right? Oh, you need somebody that to solidify your assets. Oh, here, let me pull it. Call this person, right? That is what we're here for. That is what your business exists for. That is why we all are created in the small and mid-sized business world. We've got to understand that money is going to buy us back our time. That time is going to be used to build another business, charity, experience this world, whatever it is happens to be for you, for your next level, right? We have to understand that nobody cares. We have to understand that clarity is power. Knowing exactly where you're going, clarity is power. And at the end of the day, you got to deeply connect to that outcome. And the best way that I know for people to do that is to create deep rapport with people. Um, I have been so blessed to live an unbelievable and still get to, I feel like I'm at the, just really at the tip of the iceberg with the things that are on their way and that are coming. And that's how I feel all of us as business owners should feel, is that the exit of your business, whether that's just gaining back your time or the financial freedom or both that it gives you, um, you're just at the tip of your iceberg for what God put you on this planet to do. You know it. I know it. And we get burned out because the weight of the business and the decisions and being the only one that can answer questions. And, I don't know if we got to, just because we made bills last month, the new month clicks over and I got to do it all over again. I understand that weight pushes down upon you, but you got to clear some space. And today's show was about you clearing space, pushing some things away so that you can open up new space to learn new skill sets, to acquire new skill sets, to acquire new relationships. You are the sum total of the text messages. If you go through your phone, you look at all your text messages, you're the sum total of those conversations. Go through your phone list and see who you've been having conversations with, how long have they been, what have they been about. You're the sum total and of those conversations, where you're spending your time, what you're working on in your business. It reveals for you. This is why the very first thing that we do is a deep scan of everything that's going on in a business owner's life so that we can understand, where do we need to clear space, right? Where do we need to lighten that load? What rocks do we need to take out? And I guarantee you, doesn't matter, over all of the years that I've been doing this, the first rock that we have to take out is the rock of not knowing where you're going, not realizing that this journey is about freedom, not realizing that that your business is a machine that creates that, an anchor that keeps you weighed down and keeps you from it. So that's what I got to talk about this week. It's great to see you guys. The last couple of weeks the last really 9 weeks have been massively chaotic. We got a little bit more rhythm for these Saturdays between now and the end of the year. We'll be taking a little break. I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to give you some tools to head into next year with, and just more than anything, I'm always very, very grateful for the fact that you show up, the fact that you watch these shows, the fact that you share these shows, the fact that we get to spend time with each other, the fact that we get to see each other in Austin, Texas, or Houston, or Arizona, or Virginia, or wherever our paths have crossed. Again, welcome to all the new viewers. You're in for an amazing group of human beings, the built to Xers that are out there. We call them B2 sexy, sometimes, and welcome to the family. Thank you for being here. I hope you stay. I hope you share this information with those that you think need it. And I hope to have real conversations with you and meet up with you in real life so that we can build this army, this revolution of making sure that this unbelievable opportunity called owning a business is handed to the next generation better than we found it. It's not on the way right now. It's on the way to get worse. And we need to stand up for that next generation. And the best way that you can do that, the best way that we earn each other's trust, is to make each other money, do business with each other, and to be united in the revolution of protecting this thing called owning a business. If we lose that, all freedoms, everything else is it's gone. So that's why we're here. We're in the fight. I love a fight. I love fighting bullies. I love fighting with my family. I love helping the underdog. I was an underdog, probably still am an underdog, but at the end of the day, we're in this thing together. And I don't view anybody out there that does consulting or brokeraging of businesses. I don't view any of them as my competition. I view them as an asset and a brother or a sister in the journey that goes with me, or an adversary for people who are trying to take advantage of my family. That's how I view it. Okay. So thank you again for being here. Share, like, do all the stuff that my team always says that I need to make sure that I say. Subscribe, all the other things. So thank you very much for being here. It's great to see you. My family. I see you guys out there. Everybody that's here and been with me for years. And we'll see you again next Saturday. I'm Jason Cisneros. This is the Built to Exit podcast. And have an amazing week. Implement some of these things and let me know how it's working out for you. Peace.